Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. All right, well, come on in. Standing outside the door of love and mercy, you wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but still you're searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through. Well, the door's unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. You'll find a place of rest, the arms of spirit. God's waited so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you seek and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and to wipe your tears away. Well, the Father waits with open arms. God is calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. There is room enough in the house of love for someone just like you. Oh, oh, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Oh, 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 oh. come on in. Come on into Unity of Oak Park. Happy Sunday.
Come on in. Welcome home. Good morning, Unity of Oak Park. And can we thank our choir and our music team for such a great welcome. What a beautiful, heartfelt welcome. That song always reawakens my spirit each time we start our Sunday service because there is a space for everyone here. And especially during the holidays as we celebrate Advent season. And just a quick shout out to all of our Jewish friends. Happy Hanukkah. If we can say Happy Hanukkah. And we just know that we are blessing them for the light that they reveal and share with our world. And as we're sharing our own lights and celebrating our fourth week of Advent, we're celebrating joy. We're celebrating joy, and as we can see, we are abundant in joy this morning, right? Yes, yes. And this abundance of joy that we see physically with our eyes also comes with the intention of our heart, of experiencing joy within, of knowing that the joy within makes an effect and an impact not only in ourselves but in our world. And so all of these gifts that we see are gifts for the children of Hepzibah. And Hepzibah is an organization here in Oak Park that caters to families going in transition. They have so many programs, but one of them is that they really help to foster children and help them transition to a loving home, whether it's their existing home or a new home. And so by giving them a gift, we are recognizing to every child that they have a place in our world where they matter, where they belong, where we see them, even through their own trials and tribulations. We see them as whole. And with that wholeness, we celebrate their joy. And as we give this season of giving joy, let us just remember that we've been giving joy the entire year. And this is how we've been doing that. We have partnered, we have served, and we have contributed to the following organizations that represent healing and transformation, which is part of our mission here at Unity of Oak Park. In those organizations that we have gifted joy, gifted hope, gifted peace, gifted faith, and all the abilities of God that we are Infant Welfare Society, Hepzibah, Housing Forward, Enchanted Backpacks, Funds for Ukraine, Sarah's Inn, Animal Welfare League, AA, and Al-Anon. So we can, yes. So together as a community, we have not only lived our unity principles by knowing the truth, but actually sharing our truth with our community so that they know there's a place for them here at Unity of Oak Park. So let's give a hand to all the volunteers, everyone who contributed, who helped to serve and make humankind more kind, more generous, more loving. And we see that with the physical representation, but it is the internal wisdom and awareness that brings forward our physical representation. And speaking of celebrating joy, we are going to be celebrating joy next week as we celebrate Christmas together. Now, we're going to dress up in our ugly sweater contests, and what's so great about this contest is that it allows us to express our inner joy, and just knowing that you just can't go wrong that day with what we wear. So I welcome everyone to wear their ugliest sweater, and if you don't have one, ask your neighbor, what is your ugliest sweater? Maybe they'll point out one or two. And with that, spirit of celebrating joy, we're going to have Frosty the Snowman. So if you have children, or if you have, or you know families that have children, bring them to our Christmas service. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be fun. Our board of trustees, they have a little surprise for our community members. Can we have our board of trustees stand up, those who are present, so that we know who you are? And so our board, they're really putting their whole heart in creating a gift for our community. And I'm not going to spoil the surprises. I'm going to let them share on Christmas Day what that surprise is. But they have a surprise for all of our members if you're here. Now, on New Year's Day, we're having a water bowl ceremony. And what's fantastic about this water bowl ceremony is that it's one in many here at Unity of Oak Park that has ever been done. What I love about the symbology about water is that it is about fluidity. It is about flow. It is about rejuvenation. And it's less aggression, like burning something, which, I believe that our world and where we are in our life right now, we need a different vibration, a vibration of rejuvenation. And so this water bowl ceremony, you're going to write what you want to release, you're going to put it in the water, and it's going to disappear in the water. And with that gentleness and fluidity, we can stand in our truth for 2023 to not only dream bigger, but to live bigger. Live bigger by being gentle, by being kind, by finding another way to express our power, because we are powerful beings. And speaking of being a powerful being, let's practice our power right now with prayer. Take a nice deep breath. Breathe into your spirit. Inhale the fluidity of what water represents right now. Breathe in rejuvenation. Let's rejuvenate our minds here through prayer. Jesus shares in John 15, "My joy be in you, and that your joy be full." And with that fullness of knowing that joy is full already, we bring into our mind the spirit of enoughness. We have enough joy within our physical body to bring forward into our world. And with that fluidity of water, the rejuvenation of water, we recognize that we have the power to rejuvenate our mind with a smile, with laughter, with kindness. Let's lift that vibration as we go forward in our day, in our week, in anticipating the birth of Christ, the birth of the divine potential that's already here. With the awareness and blessing and power of knowing we could do this, we say thank you for the awareness, thank you for the power, thank you for the love to rejuvenate in the spirit of joy. With joy in our heart and our mind, we bring that forward in our actions, through our relationships, through our experiences, through the challenges. And with that power, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now please join us for the daily word.
Good morning. This week, our community is celebrating the fourth week of Advent with the theme Joy. Imagine, with the preparation of faith, peace, and love, our mind, body, and spirit is anticipating the gift of having an open heart to believe and know the best is unfolding now. Let us use that power of joy as we reveal our divinity and celebrate Christmas this week. And now please join us for the Daily Word. The Daily Word for Sunday, December 18th, 2022 is joy. Joy. Joyfully, I celebrate my oneness with God. As the 3 wise men followed the star to Bethlehem to greet the newborn Christ child, I follow my inner light and discover the Christ within me. As I approach the conclusion of Advent season, I realize that the Christ within, rather than material goods or creature comforts, is the source of my joy. The Christ within is the part of me that is always one with God, omniscient, omnipotence, omnipresence. When I face challenging times, I can draw from that inner wellspring of joy, my foundation of irrepressible strength and fortitude. I have within me the power to overcome any challenge. This day, this moment, I am joy-filled, and I celebrate the overflowing blessings of my divinity. And from the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 2, verse 10, when the wise men saw that the star had stopped over the place where the Christ child was, they were overwhelmed with joy. Today's daily word, joy.
You will do amazing things with the choices each new day brings, and with every step you take. Bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. All the places you will go, and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where and how. You don't need to know that now. You're in the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy each day it brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Just staying here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes the best answers come when you're out here having fun. So close your eyes, just take a breath and smile. You don't have to work it out. Just stay here, the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes the best answers come when you're out there having fun. So So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
Thank you, Sophie Fuentes. Thank you. Can we hear it again for Sophie Fuentes and our Unity Band? Thank you, thank you. We are doing amazing things, and part of doing amazing things is it brings out the joy within us, and it expands the joy in our world. So thank you, all of you, for the amazing things that we have done together. Thank you so much. Eric Butterworth, classic Unity author, shares that joy is not just a reactionary emotion. It is the causative power that resides within all of us. It is the causative power that resides within all of us. So what does that mean? What it means is that joy is creative energy. Joy is creative energy. And so we're wondering, well, I'm not creative. I'm not an artist. I don't have an artistic vibe in my body, in my spirit. But here is a quick assessment that we can all do this morning to see if we're creative. How many of us got dressed on our own this morning? Raise your hand. Yes. All right. I didn't see some hands up, so I'm guessing you had a little help. So now look around at the creativity. Look around at the creativity that we put together, right? You're probably looking at some of us, like myself, like, well, you really spent a lot of time being creative, right? Yeah, I did spend a lot of time. Here's the second question. How many of us are in a healthy relationship? Or how many of us have a healthy relationship? Whether it's your family or friends or neighbor, raise your hand. If you have. Yourself, yes. Okay. Dorothy aced the test. Yes, so we have strong relationships. That takes creativity. That takes trust. That takes understanding. That takes love. Those are creative abilities that we all have. So let's give ourselves a hand for being creative. Yes. We are creative. We are meant to create with our God-given abilities. And so at times we feel that joy is something that's hard for us to reach because we believe that there's a circumstance that we're going through, a condition that we're going through, or maybe there's someone that's negative that's in our way. Have we had that experience ever? Raise your hand. Yeah, right? And so when that crosses your path, it's hard for us to experience any joy, right? Because we believe that something out there is taking away our joy. However, if we go back to what Eric Butterworth says, he says we are the causative power that resides within that is joy. That means that our power is not in the circumstances, our power is not in the conditions, our power is not in that negative person. Our power is within. That power to experience joy comes from within. And so here is a great example that I want to demonstrate and show this causative power of how we can use our causative power to work with the circumstances, the conditions, and even the negative people that kind of go in and out of our life, or even our own negative thinking. So let's go back to last week. How many of us were part of the gingerbread extravaganza? How many of us were part of that event? Yes. All right. Well, that experience was like a spiritual journey. It was a spiritual journey of self-expression, of joy, of being the cause. And here is how we can use that experience as an analogy. If you weren't part of that experience, I welcome you to be part of this analogy. So we have the circumstances, the conditions, and those adversarial thoughts or people in our life. And so that happens usually in the physical realm, right? And so when we're creating a gingerbread house, we have to work with cookies, candy canes, frosting, sprinkles, and all sorts of candy. So all of that material is in the physical realm. What brings that material together to shape and form this lovely gingerbread house is our God-given abilities. And you're probably wondering, well, what are they? Well, some of them, there's too many to list, but some of them is that we need faith to know that the house is going to stay together, right? And most of all, we need faith in ourselves that we're going to stay together, right? Were we there last week, right? Trying to figure things out. Can we stay together? Do I have enough faith in myself to build a gingerbread house? So we need faith to create a gingerbread house, just like we need faith to create healthy relationships. We need faith so that we can conquer and go through the challenges and circumstances of life. So that's the material world, but we're using our spiritual abilities to shape and form what we want to do. We also need love. Last week, we reviewed what love is as the definition, which is to harmonize, unify, and bring things together. So looking at all of our supplies, the cookies, the frosting, and all the goodies, we had to use the power of love to unify and create your own masterpiece. That's the same thing with our own life. We have conditions, we have circumstances, we have experiences that we don't like, but we have to harmonize to make something good out of that. And the one that we're talking about today, the spiritual ability that shapes and forms, is joy. Joy is the causative power. And one way to experience the causative power is to be fully present. As Eckhart Tolle, mystic wisdom teacher, shares, that in order for us to experience joy, we must be fully aware of the present moment. Fully aware of the present moment. And so gingerbread houses is a spiritual journey. But so is our life. Our life is a spiritual journey. We have many things to work with and build and create the best version of our life, of ourselves. And so you're wondering, well, what holds us back? What holds us back is that one belief that we kind of grew up with. And that belief that we grew up with tends to not help us express joy, but actually represses the joy within us. Some of us grew up in a household where we had parents that were very disciplinarians. Did you grow up with a disciplinarian parent? Yes. Or maybe you grew up in a household where your parents didn't have the best education in raising children or the best experience raising children, but they did their best. They did their best, and we honor them. We honor them because they did their best. However, when we heard a disciplinarian parent discipline us, if they used colorful language, like they did in my household, which I'm not going to use for the Sunday service, but I'm going to give you a rated G version of it. Okay. So the rated G version was, settle down, sit down, don't move, don't do that. And this was the one that really triggered me. Why can't you be like your brother or sister? Have you heard that one? Yes, right? So what that's implying is, don't be yourself. Don't be yourself. Now that is hard. That is hard stuff to absorb when you're a child. However, now that we're all adults, I think we are, right? Yeah. Now that we're all adults, maybe we're still carrying some of those beliefs in our mind that tell us to settle down when our spirit is telling us to stand up. Maybe we're still hearing, shut up, don't talk, when our spirit is saying, speak up. Maybe instead of being told, be more like your brother or sister, our spirit is telling us, be yourself. Be yourself. And the reason why this is important for us to understand is so that we can understand that we have the power to change that belief, to change that thought. That thought, that belief does not define what we are today. We get to be ourselves. We get to be our whole selves. We get to be the causative power of joy. And so our third unity principle defines that causative power. And that is, we create our experiences with our thoughts, feelings, and images that we hold in our mind. And so let's do a self-assessment again of how we're using that causative power today. So take a nice deep breath. And just bring into your mind an area in your life right now that you're investing a lot of your time. What is that one area that you're investing a lot of your time? As you bring into your mind, then ask yourself, am I bringing joy to that area that I'm investing in? Am I bringing joy? And if you're bringing joy, keep going. If you're not, then ask yourself the next question. What would my life be like if I were to include joy in that time? What would it be like? Maybe instead of hearing, settle down, you will stand up. Maybe instead of hearing other limiting thoughts, you would be called to be you. And so what we have done as adults, because we are very savvy, is that we have found ways to repress the joy instead of expressing the joy. And here are some creative ways that we have repressed our joy. And maybe some of us can relate. Sometimes we overcommit. We overcommit because we're trying to please everybody else. Has anyone been there before? Yes. We're trying to please everyone else. But are we including your joy? That is the question. Now, another way that we hear that repression is when we hear ourselves say, I don't have enough time for myself. I don't have enough money to have fun. So if you hear any of those two expressions in your mind, we're repressing our joy. We're leaving our joy out. We're leaving out the causative power to be the expression of joy that we were made to be. When we are children, we are innately born as joy. The problem is that even as children, because children absorb everything and they don't have the maturity to guide the joy, we absorb the limited beliefs as well. And as adults, we have the opposite problem, meaning that we are trying to uncover all the joy that is within. We want to let that joy out. So we have to find a way to find balance within ourselves. There's a story that I want to share, but before I set up the story, I want to just set up a little bit of the background of how we can demonstrate joy in our life with the conditions, with the circumstances, with the challenges. So I want us to just think about, how many of you watch like Netflix or a streaming service? Raise your hands. Great. So sometimes when people suggest things for you to watch, you kind of look at the source that's giving you the recommendations, right? How many of us have done that, right? Who's recommending this series for me to watch, right? Well, I have a friend who I said, oh, you should watch this documentary. And this person says, I don't like documentaries. And so what they're bringing to the experience is fear, is hatred. They haven't even watched the documentary that I'm suggesting, but they've already brought their judgment into the experience. So basically, everything that comes out of the mouth is going to be negative, right? So they ended up watching this docuseries, and guess what? They loved it. They loved it, and it became like the favorite movie. So now let's imagine ourselves watching this docuseries. In this docuseries, there's 4 variations of this docuseries. And so the central character of this movie is very important because it's going to reveal our own message. And so this docuseries was written from the point of view of the Gospel of Matthew. In the Gospel of Matthew, they have a portrait. They have a vision of who Jesus is. And Jesus is the central character. And so their portrait of Jesus in this variation is that Jesus would become the King, the Messiah, the Son of God. And so all the verbiage is about becoming the King. And the reason why this is relevant is because it's relevant of how the story is being told. And so in this story from the Gospel of Matthew, it is said that King Herod feared that a little baby boy would be born and become king. And that baby boy was Jesus. And so he sent out people, like the wise men, to investigate. And so if we're coming from a fear-based mindset to investigate, you know that is up to no good, right? They're looking for things that could go wrong. They're looking for things to be skeptical about. And so what I love about unity is that we interpret everything metaphysically, meaning that every person and place in a story represents a thought in our own mind. And how we connect to it makes sense for how we are living our life today. And so if we were to interpret King Herod in our life, this would be the time in our own life where we see something good happening, and then we're kind of a little skeptical. So we want to investigate, like, what is the ulterior motive, right? What is the ulterior motive? I've even heard some people say, oh, don't share any good news because I don't want you to jinx it. Have you heard that before? Yes. And so that is being skeptical. That's coming from King Herod. So as the story goes on, in chapter 2, verse 10, as we heard in our daily word, the wise men show up and they see things differently. They see this star that is shining brightly in the sky. And in that moment, they experience joy. They experience joy. So now let's go back to Eckhart Tolle's quote. To experience joy, you must be fully aware in the present. They were aware in the present moment, meaning they had forgotten what King Herod had placed in their minds, the fear. They had forgotten that. And so they saw this star shining brightly. They felt free. They felt liberated. They felt exhilarated for that brief moment. And so when we experience a positive sign like the star, we experience hope. We experience the causative power within us. And so this is an important point in the story, because when we are in the awareness of joy, guess what we see? We see something much bigger than what is standing in front of us. And what they saw in that light was a mother holding her child. And so they fell to the floor and they praised the little baby boy. They praised the little baby boy. So what does this part of the story represent for us? Well, this little baby boy was born in Bethlehem of Judea. Bethlehem, metaphysically, what that represents is substance, energy. Judea represents spiritual knowledge, represents praise. So when we put that together, the place in our mind where we're able to recognize Bethlehem and Judea, we recognize that we are praising the best version of ourselves. And so when you're praising the best version of yourselves, you see it in manifestation. You see it in that light as they saw the mother holding the baby boy. And so Jesus represents the best version of ourselves. And this is a simple and profound message for all of us to follow. It's simple because we can all praise ourselves. And it's profound because we rarely or sometimes do it, right? It's hard for us to praise ourselves. Sometimes I hear people who get compliments and they try not to hear it, right? They deflect, right? They change the story. I've been there. Have you been there? It feels uncomfortable. So it probably feels uncomfortable praising yourself because of what we've been told when we were being raised as a child. So what if we use that power to praise in our life? That means that we would feel freer, we would be liberated, and we will feel exhilarated. When we praise ourselves, we are the cause for the inner conviction to occur. When we praise others, we are the cause for the effect we have on others. When we praise our world, we are the cause and vibration of appreciation and dedication to God. To God. I'm not talking about God in the clouds. I'm talking about God within you, the goodness within you, the DNA that we are made of. So let's go back to that self-reflection question of how are we investing our time? Are we including God in that time? Are we including our God version in that time? Or are we leaving God out? Are we leaving our God energy out? Take a moment. Take a deep breath. Let's breathe on that one. That is an important message for us because it's simple and profound. Just imagine if you were to fill your mind with praise for yourself, praising your God self, praising the goodness of what you're doing rather than of all the things that are going wrong. That would be a major shift and transformation. Maybe you'd see a star, your own star. Maybe you would see a bigger manifestation in that star because you're fully aware in that present moment. So the story ends with the three wise men being warned in a dream. In that dream, they're warned that they shouldn't go back to Herod. They should find another way. So what this means for us is that when we experience joy, why go back to those limited thoughts? Why not find another way? Maybe instead of hearing, I can't, let's find another way and say, I can. Maybe that I can become our causative power of joy. Joy is within, and we have the ability to shape and transform that. And so this story that I shared from Scripture it talks about the three wise men, right? And this story was written 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago, and it was written for a small community, small piece of land, and as we can see, we live in a whole big world, right? But we can also see is that they left the wise women out, right? Where are the wise women? Yes. Yes, yes, raise your hand. Where are the wise women? Yes, absolutely. Raise your hand. So here is where the wise woman was in that story. Mary holding the child. Mary was holding the child. So what that represents for our own life is that we hold on to our best version, and we can nurture that best version of ourselves with love, unconditional love, knowing that what you're holding on to is precious and destined to do amazing things. Amazing things. And so wise women were also present in that story, for the record. And wise women, as we affirmed here this morning, are also present here today. And wise women were also part of our gingerbread activity extravaganza that we did last week. And here's 3 wise women I want to point out. The first wise woman, and maybe she's not a woman yet because she's still a child, but what I learned from her is that she was creating her gingerbread house, and the pieces weren't aligning. And so she stood back, and what she affirmed and praised for herself was something bigger. Instead of a gingerbread house, it was a forest. It was a forest. And I went up to her and I asked her, "Can you explain to me your forest?" She had the name for every tree in that forest. This is the marshmallow tree. This is the candy cane tree. This is this kind of. So that is the abundance and causative power of joy. She wasn't thrown back by the limited beliefs or limited knowledge of I can't, but I can. And I know her mother, and her mother is a prime example of I can. Second wisdom teacher that I learned from that day was a mother that is not even part of our church community. She came from the outer community, and she brought 4 of her kids. And so she was trying to put these walls together, as you can see in this gingerbread, the walls together, and they kept falling. And instead of giving up, she grabbed the walls, she stacked one cookie on top of the other cookie, on top, and it created this huge building. She decorated beautifully. But what was wonderful about her example is what she taught her children. She taught her children, find another way. I can. I am the causative power. These cookies are not going to define what I am, just like in life. These circumstances, these conditions are not going to define my life. I will find another way because I can, because we can. That is the causative power. Now, the third example is a dear friend of mine, and she's probably going to kill me after service. And she came up to me and she said, Rev, I can't do this. This is the third time that my house has fallen down. And then she says, what should I do? And I said, pray. Pray. And so she laughed, I laughed, we laughed together. And then by the end of the event, she created this palace. This palace, it had every sprinkle you can think of. It was so beautiful. And what's amazing about this woman is that recently she moved to a new home. And she created this palace with faith, with love, and now with joy. It's because of her that she has this palace. She has a beautiful palace. And so her artwork was a reflection of just the joyful spirit that she is. And if you want to know who she is, she'll let you know through fellowship. So you have to go to fellowship and try to find who this wise woman is. And so life is about working with the conditions, the circumstances, the challenges. It's about working with that. And sometimes it's really hard. I've had a hard week, and I've had those King Herods in my life, where they're looking to see like what you're doing wrong, what's not going right. And so the best way to get through that is through understanding. Find understanding. What can I do with my power in this moment, in this relationship? Maybe I'm not going to feel the fa la 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 la, but I'm going to have understanding of what I really want so that I can praise what I want. I can praise what I want. And if I praise what I want, then I'm a step closer to seeing a bright, shining star, to knowing that the light is within, it's everywhere, and that opens up to more possibilities so we can use our divine abilities. So what I want us to remember is that at times we're going to be frustrated. We're going to be overwhelmed. We're not going to understand each other. But it's okay. It's okay, because maybe it's meant to be a forest. Maybe it's meant to be a palace. Maybe it's meant to be the birth of Christ, the birth of the best version of yourself. So here's an affirmation that I use, and hopefully it's one that we can use for ourselves. And that affirmation is, I get to bring fun to my day. I get to bring fun to my day. And the reason I like this affirmation is because it affirms self as the cause. I am the cause that brings fun to my day. And like I said, it's not going to be a huge vibration if I'm going through something dark, but at least it's towards something good. So let's affirm, I get to bring fun to my day. I get to bring fun to my day. And with that affirmation in your own mind, you have the power to look for fun in something that might not be as fun. But at least you're not being like the King Herod. You're being more of the wise women looking for I can and I am. And with that in our hearts, we say thank you for the message we receive. We open our mind and our heart to hear Lindsay in her meditation. Thank you.
Okay, let's just ease gently into meditation. We know as we breathe and notice our breath, we become more fully present to this moment. As we notice our breath, we become more aware. We can imagine our breath flowing through our entire body, awakening us, renewing, rejuvenating every inch, every cell of our body. Our mind may want to move quickly, to hop ahead, but we allow our breath to anchor us so we may refocus on the ease, the gentle flow, and we invite the day to flow easily. Our mind relaxes, trusting that we'll navigate each bend, twist, or turn of this day with ease. Like a river that flows, so do I, effortlessly, freely. As you awaken this new way of being, You let your shoulders be soft and relaxed. Your neck relax. You release anything that weighs you down. Any beliefs that don't serve you. You release them now. And as you focus your attention on your heart center, allowing yourself to open with ease, you affirm, may I be open. May I be love. May I be whatever my heart needs to be at peace. We allow the ease of our own breath to guide us. So we flow with ease through our day's activities. And at any time we can pause, notice our breath, and we can make a different choice. We can ask a different question. How can I bring joy? How can I make this fun? How can I be the best version of myself? How can I help another be the best version of their self? And with that, we begin to wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, allow a smile to grace our face. We notice our breath and know that we can be joy. We can get present and enjoy and let the ease of our breath guide us there. So with that, we open our eyes and we affirm together that to be joyful, we have to be aware in the present moment. And so we allow ourselves to be that. We open our eyes and we know that we can be joy and we can enjoy from within and without with those that we're with today. And so with that, we prepare for our offertory.
Thank you, Lindsay, for being an expression of joy. With joy in our hearts, we prepare our offerings as we know that our offerings allow us to continue spreading joy to our world. As our prayer chaplains come up and our beautiful choir members come up to join us in affirming, I am so blessed, as we hold all the offerings in our heart. And today, I want us to hold the offerings of our children of Hepzibah in our heart as we sing together, I am so blessed. with the offerings in our hearts, all the prayers that we receive and give, all the financial contributions that we give, and the service that we contribute, we affirm our offertory prayer. Divine love, expressing as me, blesses and multiply all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is. And just as a reminder, we have our prayer chaplains available after service if you want to carry the consciousness of joy or any healing that you're going through right now. And they're also available Monday evenings for the meditation service and prayer held by Marianne Provenza and all of our chaplains. Thank you so much.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. On your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, though yonder breaks of new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine,
That was beautiful, huh? Let's hear it one more time. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Ah, I was sitting there next to Marilyn Joy. She goes, oh my God, this is my favorite song. I said, mine too. And now I'm crying again. I think it's a story. I got to not cry before announcements. Anyways, I'm full of joy and love for this community, everybody watching, and just for the message today. And thank you all for being here. My name is Scott, and I'm going to do the announcements. A great way to know what's happening here at Unity Oak Park and be engaged is by visiting our website, unityoakpark.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and sign up for our newsletter on our website. You may watch the slides before or after the service, or visit the community hub table out in the solarium after service for more information, and pick up flyers there. And please share them with your friends and other people in the community so we can keep growing and having fun like we did last week. We are always looking for volunteers, especially for Sunday service. You can sign up on the Sign Up Genius link on our website for slots and times that work for you. There's also a clipboard near the community hub table after service during fellowship, so you can sign up there to help with hospitality, either to bring something you made at home or go to Jules, which is my favorite shopping spot for little treats, or or else help clean up afterwards and help Ron, our hospitality captain. Here are a couple of exciting things to check out. Our angel giving tree, let's just hear it one more time. We have 75 beautiful gifts for our kids. I'm so excited. I had to change the tree out because we sold and got rid of all of our angels. We had so many beautiful angels that came to give of their own love and show people that they matter. So I'm so excited this year. It's the second successful year we've had. 12:25 Christmas Day service featuring a special guest appearance from Frosty the Snowman. I hope the weather stays cool. It looks like it's going to be snowy and cold, so I think he'll be able to arrive and stay together. So hopefully we'll see you all there. 1/1 New Year's Day Rejuvenating Water Bowl service. Church will be closed from December 26th through the 30th, so leave a message. Invite Lillian Flowers, would you please come on up for a special announcement about a mastermind group starting in January.
I'm Lillian Flowers, and I must have been present this morning when Reverend Ev talked about living a greater life. And then Sophie sang about doing amazing things. And I just realized, because I have all of this to read, but I won't, that's why I want to facilitate a mastermind group. I want to do amazing things. I want to live a larger life, an amazing life, and I want others to join me in that process. Mastermind is a powerful spiritual group process. It's a prayer process. We get journals that we work on each week. It's a weekly process. It'll be in the chapel every Sunday morning from 9 a.m. to 9:45. Please visit the renaissanceunity.org website. It will tell you so much more about the mastermind group than I am saying right now. Plus, you have to order your manual. We can't photocopy it, copyrights and all that other good stuff. Anyway, I hope to see you at least come January 1st to find out what it's all about. Okay? Thank you.
We'll be there. Thank you. With bells on. Be the last minute to have bells on January 1st. And we got to get serious. We would also like to bless our youth and our youth directors, Chris Manville and Baba Tony, who are upstairs. Please rise and join us for the prayer of protection, followed by the peace song as we conclude the service. And I ask the choir to come join me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Why am I up here? Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the
sing